My take on the Noureddine Morceli 1 mile run, time of 3 minutes and 44.39 seconds from 5 September 1993. I'm filming this Friday, 19 July 2024. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. I'm Tanis Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. And this is the Noureddine Morceli of Algeria 1 mile run race in Rieti, Italy. A time of 3 minutes and 44.39 seconds in the final on 5 September 1993. And now some people roast swim cloud pages and some of us scroll back to the 1900s and iCal. So I'm scrolling back to the 1990s to see what day of the week this day was. That day this day was. That doesn't quite work. That day was. Okay. 5 September 1993. You know me, I don't believe in time travel. So Sunday. It was a Sunday. I've already specified that the time travel is more like the passing of time, not going backwards or forwards. And I'm scrolling back. I guess I could press today, but I decided to scroll back to the 2000s. Okay. And so with his time, he achieved a personal best time, an Algeria record, an Africa record, and a world record in first place. I provide my take/perspective on his performance and contextualize it in terms of overtaking a world record in the event in Norway by a runner representing Great Britain in 1985 by a margin of less than 2 seconds. So yes, in middle distance, I guess the margin becomes bigger when it's more than a mile. So miles is approximately 1,609 meters. The proper metric is 5,280 feet. Right. But a lot of people in sports reporting these days are a bit lazy and not necessarily about being proper. I care. And that was one of those numbers I memorized very early in life, 5,280. Like, that goes all the way back to like math. Was that pre-math Olympiads? So like, you know, what, 23 years ago. So 24 years ago, 23 years ago, something like that. Yeah. And yeah. So I care, but not necessarily. A lot of people aren't really that tuned in or don't pay that much attention and don't care. And so I do care, and I thought this is an interesting one. So he set this world record, and the world record before it was from 1985, and it was a runner representing Great Britain, and they set it in Norway. And so he overtook that world record, but less than 2 seconds. And so it's an interesting one in terms of how the runner felt about it. What made this particular race, what made this particular race interesting is there was, it was a quiet period, right? So it's coming out of, there's not necessarily a lot of people going, but then there's also like, how much faster can this time be? And so there might have been a bit of, when this result was achieved, a little bit of like, I'm fast and it's less than 2 seconds, but more than 1 second. So the previous time was a 3:46.32. So it was pretty close, like a 1.9 some second difference would be that. What would that be? 1.93 seconds difference? But it was still less than 2 seconds. And if it ends up that this world record goes a whole lot faster than that, then, you know, does that impact the person's perception, or was it faltering at the time? Like, where they're like, that's good, but it can be faster, or I could be faster, right? There's the time could be faster, but then who's gonna set it? And then, like, if the person's like, but I could be faster, but people aren't out here running this, and so maybe I don't want to drop a bunch of time for safety kind of things. Yeah, and then the women go, don't worry, we'll show all the women are sabotaging each other. By the people who come up and run faster than the men, right? That's right. Some women choose to focus on politics and press instead of getting faster than the men. You know, gotta get Sarah Sjöström in this one. She's like all the squirrels. But yeah, so there we go. It was a solid performance per my perspective. So my take, I thought this was a good time, good time drop. And props to the man for coming after a little bit of a hiatus in the record. So that's like about 8 years. So it wasn't like it was a year or 2 or 3 later. It was like, I would guess there's a bit of a conscious effort of, gotta speed this up even if it's just once more. Yeah, kind of thing. So there we go. That's my take on the Noureddine Morceli 1 mile run. 3 minutes and 44.39 seconds from 5 September 1993.